Well, folks, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where you can find them online. If you want to stop by the office, it's at 114th and Davenport. But they are legendary for their service and knowledge when it comes to home loans, FHA, VA, conventional loans, work with people on all of that. But they've been in the business for well north of 30 years now and have helped countless people get their piece of the American dream. So if you're thinking about buying a house, talk to them really early, super early in the process. And they can shop a variety of banks as a mortgage broker. They're not beholden to one, and therefore they can get the best deal and the best circumstances for you in your individual situation. EagleMortgageCompany.com. Well, Trenton, let's start out with politics. Now, we don't normally talk...
Yeah, we're a political show.
We don't normally talk politics on this show, but there were several bills or pieces of bills, if you will, that went through the Nebraska legislature this week, the last week or so of the session.
The last day of the session, wasn't it? 2 days ago?
It's done. Yeah. It's done. Those weary, tired legislators can go home and
overpaid.
Sleep. And overpaid.
For $12,000 a year for like the last 30 years.
It's basically a fairly highly paid volunteer job.
Yes.
That's the way I'd look at it, a high paying volunteer job.
Most of them earn their keep.
Yeah, they definitely put in the hours.
There are some agitators.
But that said, we're not going to talk politics per se and breaking the Omaha unwritten rule, but we are going to talk about several things that kind of went through the end of this legislative session that we believe are going to be conducive to Omaha growth and development. So I'll just kind of fly through them. Yep. It's pretty fast, and we're not going to give you a lot of details because we don't want you to fall asleep on the radio with a bunch of policy talk. But here goes. Some bills to help Omaha growth and development that went through the legislature toward the end of this year's session. We're dropping the top two income tax brackets as well as the corporate tax rate, state tax rate, this is, to 3.99% starting in 2027, which should help us attract talent and businesses. Total exemption from state income taxes for Social Security income starting in 2024. That's important because, believe it or not, one of the demographics we have not been doing a good job of recruiting and retaining lately. Retirees. Yeah. We've been losing too many retirees, and that's a part of the population you definitely want because, as they say, not only do retirees contribute to the community, pay taxes, they don't commit crimes. You don't see a lot of retirees holding up come and goes. Tax credits for child care, which will help the workforce. Property tax relief credits. Then there was LB 727, which provides tax credits for very large development projects such as Nebraska Crossing in Gretna. It's called the Good Life Transformational Project. It's not limited to just Nebraska Crossing. Other big mega projects could take advantage of it. But like for Nebraska Crossing, in order to qualify for this Good Life Transformation Project benefits, in which they will get half of state sales tax collections turned back to them, they would have to invest at least $500 million, create 250 or more new jobs, attract new to Nebraska businesses, attract at least 600,000 visitors per year, 20% of whom must be from out of state. So that's pretty exciting. I think that'll allow us to see some big time development and some exciting stuff in Gretna.
And that's Gretna. If it's in Lincoln, I believe it's $750 million of new development. And if it's Omaha, it's $1 billion, given the size of the municipalities.
Okay, I didn't realize so there's a population adjustment there. Okay. And then also approved an extension of state turnback tax to enable an expansion of the CHI Health Center in Omaha, help with Steelhouse Omaha, which recently opened, and the new performance venue in La Vista. And then approximately $400 million will be invested into North and South Omaha projects. This has been in the works for a year or two, and it's kind of been getting a little more clarification, but we have over 300 projects, organizations that have applied for grants for projects. It will be finally determined as to which projects get what by the Nebraska Department of Economic Development. But among the highlights in this North and South Omaha package would be a $60 million business park near Eppley International Airport that can eventually expand to $90 million. And then $20 million to go help build the Malcolm X Museum, $20 million for community health centers, and $16 million to develop a Standing Bear Visitor Center. So some pretty cool stuff. And of course, this is not 100% for sure, but it looks like a big chunk of money will go to the Plaza de la Raza in South Omaha, which would be a real nice shot in the arm for what is a strong business center there on the South 24th Street District.
That's different than the Canopy project, right?
I believe so. Okay. I believe so. But they're both South Omaha.
Okay.
Some of those details sometimes there's so many moving pieces when you're talking policy.
They change, yeah.
And they can change a little bit. But what we do know is that this will be an historic investment in Northeast and Southeast Omaha. And when I remember looking at the original list of 300 some projects, there were some pretty cool projects. So I think it'll be transformational for our town.
Yeah.
All right, a couple other news items that we want to get to. Genesis Health Clubs, which has a location in Midtown Crossing, plans to move across the street. You remember the old Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. The gym that's there will go across the street to the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. Allow the gym to go up to 67,000 square feet total, which would be pretty substantial. They're kicking around the idea of possibly even a rooftop pool, but I don't know if that's a for sure. They're going to have a bar in there, and it'll be considered like one of Genesis' more premium clubs. And apparently they have a couple around the country that are like called Diamond or something like that, and this will supposedly be on that par. So a nice move there.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to the old Genesis or the current Genesis.
And what they put in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. My guess is, they'll find something. It's a strong area. And with the streetcar coming, it'll get even busier. The former pet spa at 168th and Blondo, which more recently was used as a COVID-19 testing center, has been purchased by D.R. Horton, Trenton.
Largest home builder. And what they do is they build a lot of spec homes. They actually sell them completed as opposed to customized build-to-suit, I understand, by talking to someone there. And so they we have very strong home builders in Omaha, especially Celebrity Homes does an amazing job. And D.R. Horton has built thousands of homes every year around the country. And so they've been here a few years, and we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah, and that building will be the offices for D.R. Horton's Omaha operations. Last week, we had our call-in show, and one of the callers asked about a former car dealership on 144th and Meadows. So that's 144th Street, south of Giles a ways and a little bit north of I-80. We did not know the answer to that during the show, so we did a little bit of...
That was a Ford dealership, right?
I think it was a Ford dealership, yeah. And so we did a little bit of background work on that. Hymus Corp here in Omaha has purchased it. They're not sure whether they're going to move their offices into it or resell it, but...
they have property to the west of that.
Yeah, and I think they're like in construction equipment and maintenance and maybe industrial equipment or something like that. Good company.
Contractors.
Yeah, good Omaha company. And so that's that. Nothing really big to report there, but we promised the caller last week that we would get back to
another building
on
that people always ask about is the northeast corner of 84th and L Street, which the Omaha Food Bank bought that huge H&H Chevy building.
Yes.
And that property there. So it'll be very interesting to see. That's a big property for them, and it's a great social services opportunity.
Yeah, and I would imagine the food bank's pretty big operation, and they'll probably use the space well.
And I just found out the other day that hungry people actually need those services not just during Thanksgiving and Christmas.
That's a good point. Yeah, we eat every day. Miracle Hills Park, 137,000 square foot retail strip northwest of 114th and Dodge, undergoing a substantial renovation right now. It's a 35-year-old center, which is hard to believe, and getting a new facade and upgraded parking lot. No word as far as we are aware of any new tenants in that area, although the Med Center is doing something in the old grocery store.
Because they do their own. It's they break bulk and they do prescriptions and deliver to all their facilities and stuff like that.
A couple of major church construction projects in West Omaha. All Holy Spirit Greek Orthodox Church is coming along nicely on the construction of their new building west of 192nd. Between Dodge and Pacific, maybe slightly closer to Dodge. It's kind of close to that new MD West 1 office building out in that area. And that church building is expected to open in March. And then at 189th and Maple, St. Patrick's Church of Elkhorn will break ground for a $30 million new church building tomorrow. And it'll seat 1,400 people. Completion for that is 2025. Interestingly, St. Patrick's is going to keep their existing campus, I believe, for the school, and then the church itself will be a little ways to the east.
I don't think there's a correlation between the amount of new houses of worship and large alcohol warehouse like wine, beer, and spirits, and the wall-to-wall. You see all these liquor stores coming to Omaha, and I don't think there's any relationship to the houses of worship, just so everybody knows.
Okay, I don't think a lot of people thought there was, but I do appreciate you clarifying that just in case. And then that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.